All right, good morning. My name is Harry Daniels, of Law Officer Harry M. Daniels out of Atlanta, Georgia. Alongside myself, Benjamin L. Crump of the Ben Crump Law Firm, as well as Mario Pacella of the Storm Law Firm. We are here with the Cure family, Mary Cure and her sons, as well as Tim Bessett, the president of the NAACP chapter in Camden County, as well as the daughters. I'm sorry. This morning we filed a federal lawsuit in the Southern District of Georgia, the Brunswick Division, and the scenery have changed. You know, we normally, in this case, dealing with Leonard Cure, we'll be in Camden County, but we are in Brunswick today because it's a saying that faith without works is dead. And now we are working. We have filed a federal lawsuit against those responsible for the death of Leonard Allen Cure. Buck Aldridge, in his individual capacity, a deputy sheriff who unlawfully tased and shot and killed Leonard on that day, as well as Jim Proctor, the sheriff, in his individual capacity. And I'm gonna go back and expound more on that individual capacity, as well as official capacity as the sheriff of Camden County. This lawsuit is seeking damages in excess of $16 million. We talked about why that number was significant, in excess of $16 million. So it's not regulated at that particular amount. And we are seeking, we have claims in violation of Leonard's constitutional right, Fourth Amendment. We also have claims of supervisor liability against the sheriff, and I get more detail with that, and also policy and practice of the sheriff, along with wrongful death, as well as assault and battery. Let me start by saying this, and I echo my colleague Ben Crump and others. This should never happen. This should never have happened, because Buck Aldridge has a history of violence, a propensity of violence and unlawful use of force while in uniform. He was fired from the Kingsland Police Department for unlawful use of force against a woman. Then he was subsequently hired by the Camden County Sheriff Office. They knew of his propensity of violence. The sheriff, they knew it. He in fact disclosed it. Every law enforcement officer in the state of Georgia had what we call post records. Their records are maintained and held at post. The post records clearly show that he was terminated. In fact, he did not dispute the termination at all, meaning he acknowledged his unlawful force. In addition, in 2022, not to mention his past history of bad acts at Kingsland Police Department, in 2022, a video recently surfaced where he chased a young black male after a brief chase in an incident. The black male is laying across the seat on his back. He holstered his gun and punches him in the face with no justification to do so. Subsequently, sent K9 dogs on him and tasered him multiple times. Mario, you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. This is why he was a sergeant at the Camden County Sheriff Office. What did happen around that time, he was promoted. He was promoted. Now let's fast forward to October the 16th, 2023, when he accosted Leonard. You know, the whole thing, and we looked at this video that was produced, it's talking about how Leonard was driving, speeding and reckless. When we looked at the video, we saw Buck Aldridge in the far right lane, and Leonard comes past him, seemingly maybe going past the speed limit, but Buck Aldridge immediately gets behind him, turning his lights, and guess what Leonard do? He turned his signal lights on to indicate he's moving over. Where's the reckless driving at? Where's the justification to get out of the car, you under arrest? That's why we have speeding tickets, citation in the state of Georgia. But the reason why Buck Aldridge got the car and ready to inflict harm, because his sheriff, Jim Proctor, allowed that to happen. How do we know that? How do we know that, Tim? Mr. Best, how do we know that? Because he allowed it happen over and over and over again. When you look at this lawsuit is enumerated with pictures, and I'll hold it up for you guys, in incidents where individuals inside the Camden County Sheriff's Office, outside the Camden County Sheriff's Office, have been beaten, in some incidents killed, talking about LaToya James, where these incidents was caught on camera. Caught on camera, a closed and shut case, right, Mr. Besson? Closed and shut case, and nothing is done. Nothing is happening to them. Not until the NAACP or the county commissioners or the district attorney here in Brunswick gets involved, then all of a sudden the GBI get involved, then a termination takes place. But what that shows is a culture, a environment where it is allowed, environment where Buck Aldridge can stop a person on a simple citation and demand them and tase them and ultimately shooting and killing them. This case is directly against Jim Proctor, and I told y'all before, this is not just a bad apples, this is a bad orchard. This is a bad orchard, and today we are bringing accountability to the apple and the orchard. To the apple and the orchard. Make no mistake about it. I've echoed it over and over again. We're in Brunswick for work. Faith without works is dead. This is work. It's time to get work. It's not just about Leonard. It's about everybody who drives through Camden County on the way to Florida to see their mama. And they're sure that they make it there alive. Because if this was a criminal case, Jim Proctor should be charged with party to the crime because he's responsible, just as much Buck Aldridge is responsible. With that being said, I'm gonna bring up the president of the NAACP, Tim Bassett Sr. I'm gonna bring up Leonard's mom and his siblings who want to speak. Then we'll do Q&A.
Let me just say this. We're here again standing with the Cure family. The incidents and the things that have taken place in Camden County, it's not just have been one incident. There are several incidents that we know of that has happened under this current administration that involve correctional officers, that involve deputies, patrol officers. As you go back in 2003, officer by the name of Chad Palmer showed the kind of things that this sheriff allows to happen within the department. 2003, he white officer painted his face black with a correctional officer, a correctional detainee uniform on, as though he was picking cotton. Can you imagine that in 2003, a correctional officer in Camden County dressed as an inmate as though he's picking cotton? What did the sheriff do?
Nothing.
1 year of probation, he said.
Wow. Nothing.
In 2003, that deputy should have been terminated. So there's not just one incident, there's several incidents. A lot have taken place in Camden County, and the termination would not happen if the GBI, after they finished their case, and the district attorney didn't get involved, then now the sheriff want to do something about it. So this is systemic in Camden County. And so we are calling for the citizens of Camden County to take a deep look at this current sheriff and this administrator and say, how much longer are we going to allow these things to happen? So as we stated before, the NAACP in Camden County, we are standing with the Cure family and all of those that have been assaulted at the hands of the deputies that the Camden County Sheriff Jim Proctor have allowed to happen in our county. Thank you.
Let me say this one thing. Let me let this gentleman move with this music. It sound good. But if he want to be nosy, just turn the music down and listen.
How about that?
Yes, you can do that. Let me say this. I'll be remiss. Mr. Tim Bassett Sr. has done a phenomenal job. One of the best NAACP presidents, local chapter that I've seen, who's very concerned about citizens. And we're not talking about this black folk, people of color. We're talking about white people alike. And he has been amazing. And a lot of these cases have been brought to the attention of the GBI directly on this man's work to bring an accountability to Camden County Sheriff Office. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that. We had majority all these cases in this complaint started with him. People complaining to him, and he going to the jail to see about him. In fact, the Jared Hobbs case, he went to the jail and talked to the sheriff, and the sheriff said, what did he tell you?
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen, wasn't aware of it. And they charged Jared Hobbs with a crime. And but for the United States attorneys in North Carolina asking for the video, we never know what happened to Jared Hobbs. Today, Jared Hobbs is no longer in the Camden County Jail. All charges have been dismissed, and the deputies and detention officers who beat him has been indicted. Think about that. They've been indicted. But if Mr. Bassett would never went or gone to the Camden Sheriff Office, that video never came out, it'd have been swept away. You can think how many more that we don't know about. There's a whole lot more than these 6. There's a whole lot more. Ms. Cure, you want to come up and speak?
Yes, just a few words.
Yeah, she want to come up and speak. This is Leonard Cure, mother Mary Cure.
Hi, my name is Mary Cure. There are a couple of things I'd like to say. First of all, it's a terrible day when the citizens have to police the police. That's a terrible day because they should take their job seriously. And when they want to use excess force, you have other parts of the body you can shoot. You don't have to always kill somebody. 2 things that bother me after Lenny's death is the compensation that the state made. I had to bury him with that. You know how painful that is? He never got to spend anything. Bought a house, he was never ever to live in it. And the hell of trying to close out his estate and being questioned by the officials in Georgia has been daunting. Really daunting. I've given them the death certificate in certain places. They asked me, is that real? Are you kidding me? It's crazy that it has gotten that far. So I want to know definitely somehow that this guy who killed my son is not working. I've always been slightly suspicious of this, that he should have been on administrative leave. I do not believe he's on administrative leave. He shouldn't be working anywhere. He should not. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cure. You want to come up? You want to speak?
Never mind. No. Again, here we are, and I just want to reiterate a few points that we made earlier. All I really want is justice for my brother. Justice for my brother. And unfortunately, it has to be financial compensation, if so, but my brother deserved better than what he received in Camden County. My question to Camden County, as a matter of fact, to law enforcement across the country is, black officers are faced with the same dilemmas as white officers. How is it or why is it that they don't kill anybody? There's a problem in America with black men and men of color being killed and women indiscriminately. Since my brother's killing, he was the 80th murder victim in Georgia. As of December 28, 2023, 103 people have been murdered by Georgia police departments. There is a problem in the country, but Georgia certainly has a problem that you all really need to address. Again, I will reiterate, you cannot change what you tolerate. And with a racist, incompetent sheriff in charge, it will never change. Never. So hopefully this will get their attention and changes will be made, but something has to give. This is outrageous. And I believe I can speak for my family when we say that we are overwhelmed and we are outraged. This should not be. My brother did 17 years for a crime he did not commit. He did not commit. He was 100% exonerated. He was innocent. Only to be out 3 years and have an encounter with this racist, incompetent officer who took his life unnecessarily. Where's the justice? Where is it? This has to stop.
I'd like to thank all of you all in the media for being here and keeping a light on this situation. I'd also like to thank the attorneys for taking the matter up. So often we see attorneys chasing the bag with injury attorneys chasing behind ambulances. These guys are here, these men are here standing up for justice.
Absolutely.
Today it could be my family, tomorrow it could be yours. There are instances where the color line is broken. There have also been Anglos, Europeans, that have been assaulted and brutalized by law enforcement officers. We need voices to stand up against it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take some questions here.
I just got an email from the district attorney's office. They let us know that this case is still under review. So is this filing premature?
No, it's not premature. This is a federal filing. This is a civil filing. Look, the district attorney has a job. They have a standard in which they do and process in which they go from the GBI or what have you. A lot of these cases that's inside this complaint, I was a lead attorney on. A lot of them are one of the lead attorneys, so I'm very aware and clear of what have transpired in Camden County. I'm no stranger to Camden County whatsoever, so I know exactly, the timing is now, and hopefully, in considering this federal lawsuit and looking at the things that's transpired, that the district attorney take a deeper, closer look at the case. But here's the thing, we're not here to wait what the district attorney do. The video came out in October 16, 2023. Right. Buck Aldridge has been beating people since almost a decade. And the sheriff been covering up and not doing anything for years. So we don't need to wait for a district attorney before we move forward. We are also going to appeal to the Department of Justice. So Brunswick Judicial Circuit or the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. This is a matter that we take very seriously. So to answer your question, no, it's not premature. It's right on time.
All right.
When you look at that video, obviously it's hard to watch to begin with. A lot of people, especially commenters, they've taken out the chase and they say, why did Leonard react the way he did? Is that justification enough?
Well, I don't really, and I understand people, you have polarizing comments. We got a case up in Minnesota. We saw a case in Minnesota where you think that George Floyd had his knee on Derek Chauvin's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Absolutely.
So we're aware those people make those comments. You block those noise. The bottom line is this: when the experts and the analysis look at that video, as well as the lawyers look at that video, the person who escalated and the person who used force, unnecessary, unlawful, excessive force in that video to start with is Buck Aldridge. At the time, now Leonard might have been saying he wasn't going to do stuff, but everything he told Leonard to do, he did it.
He complied.
He might have said, well, I don't want to do it. He said, put your hands on the truck. He did it.
He did it.
He told, turn around. He did it. He said, put your hands behind your back. Well, for to put your hand behind your back, you got to take your hands off the truck. And when he did that, he shot him. He tased him.
He tased him.
Completely unjustified. So in the state of Georgia, Mario, and correct me if I'm wrong, a person is allowed to resist an unlawful force against them. And the person who initiated force cannot use deadly force. That's exactly what happened here. He literally instigated, started, and shot these vultures through Leonard's body, and he was resisting, prevent that from happening from him. Then he ultimately ended up shooting and killing him. So the commentators, that happened. I'm a civil rights lawyer. We hear it and we see it all the time, so we don't worry about that.
And let's not forget, it's a traffic stop. He did not get out brandishing weapons. There were drugs. There was nothing that should have caused them to get this end result.
But what we do know is that he has escalated before.
Absolutely.
He's done this before.
That is his
He's
MO.
gotten out the car before, beating and punching and tasing without justification. Yeah. So that's his MO. And if the sheriff would have did his job, we
Absolutely.
would not be here today.
And the reality is, if he were white, we would have a different outcome.
In response to your question, when law enforcement does something unlawful and creates this whole situation, they're responsible for anything that follows. And so that's the point. So whatever you want to say about what happens in the video after the tasing, fundamentally that tasing was improper, and law enforcement is responsible for everything that happens after that.
All right, any other questions?
Yes, can I ask, when it comes to the next steps, I mean, this is going to take a while, and the DA has not even reached, their decision, so this is going to be a long, drawn-out process, obviously, for this family. I mean,
How you know
is there
that?
a timeline? I mean, we're waiting on the DA, and you all have already filed
Well-
this. They can decide in your favor.
Well, and I'm asking you a rhetorical question. I mean, obviously, we don't know how long lawsuits happen. It depends on, obviously, at some point we'll serve the lawsuit, we'll get a defense attorneys involved, and we'll go from there. Yeah, they tend to be drawn out because there's a lot of work, there's a lot of cases being filed. But at the same time, our steps, we're going to proceed forward in this matter. And that's our job. That is what our intent is. This is a civil matter, and not just a civil matter asked for monetary relief. We are asking the federal courts to enjoin, to tell Camden County Sheriff Office, quit violating people's civil rights. That's one of the things we have in this lawsuit. So we can't wait for a DA to present to a grand jury or whatever. We must act now because it's imperative, because lives are at stake. Mario?
Yeah. The criminal process is going to happen however long it takes. We don't know how long that's going to take, but we don't have the luxury of waiting like the district attorney, who can wait
Ever.
3-4 Christmases before he decides to indict a case. We don't have that luxury. We have a 2-year statute of limitations, so we have to bring it. This court, the Southern District of Georgia, has got a very fast docket. So we may get ahead of the district attorney's office, and that's okay. The only way it'll get slowed down is if Mr. Aldridge decides that he wants to assert his Fifth Amendment privilege and stop this and stay this case while the criminal process is going on. So if it gets slowed down, it's going to be slowed down based on what the defendants ask, not based on what we're doing.
And remember, we have two defendants, so we missed. And to add on that, we have two defendants, the sheriff and Aldridge. So even if he asks for a state, we have another case against the sheriff. And you got to always look at these complaints, different parties, different claims. It's almost like two lawsuits into one. Any other questions?
I have one for the family. Obviously, this is a horrendous thing anyone would have to go through. What would the future look like that you guys could find some peace?
Chance, what the future look like? You can find some
Unfortunately for me and my family, there is no peace to be had. My son was terrified of the police ever since he was exonerated. 17 years, and it was not pleasure. I went to see him every weekend to try to give him courage and let him know I would be there, and one day he would come home. So when he came home, I was frightened. Every time he left the house to go to work, wherever he was, I was calling forever, trying to figure out where he was. But he told me, he said, "Mom, I'm not going back to jail. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I have to go back to jail because I don't think that I can do it. I don't." So I have not seen the video. I don't want to see it, but I know my son. My son would have been compliant. He would have been compliant. He would have followed the rules. He did it for 17 years. So you're going to tell me in a couple of hours he wouldn't? That's crazy to think that. But I don't care what he did. He took my son's life, and somebody needs to pay for that. Somebody needs to pay. Money doesn't mean a damn thing to me. Give me my son back.
Mm-hmm.
Give me my son back. I did those 17 years with him. When they killed my child, I died with him. Damn, how many times are you going to kill me? 3 times. He's in jail for something he didn't do. He gets out. He's afraid to go anywhere. And he's all legal. He has license and every damn thing it takes for you to travel around in this country. But one thing he had that was a deterrent for him to receive proper care. He was black. He was black. And when he'd been stopped before and they said, "Oh, you're cured, you were in jail." He's exonerated, What the hell are you stopping him for? Why are you asking these questions? It was in every paper and on the news that he was exonerated. I fought to get that put up front. I fought like hell all those years in law books, reading, writing, searching down cases. I did. Paid 3 lawyers and got nowhere. The court, the 4th district even told me, you filed too many motions. You can't continue to do that. At what point do I stop being a mother? When do I stop fighting? Why wouldn't I stop to file a motion? They're not accepting Leonard's motion, but damn it, you're going to accept mine. You're going to accept, I'm going to write it, and you are going to accept it.
Yes, ma'am.
So I did the writ of habeas, and I gave it to the lawyer that we hired. He had the case for about 6 months, and every time he turned around, he wanted money. We gave him $20,000 first. This is now the second lawyer. And so Leonard wanted to take a polygraph. We did that. But when the polygrapher got there, Leonard told him that, listen, I'm uncomfortable because there's an officer in the room with me. No officer should be in the room with me while I'm talking to you. But the polygrapher went ahead and gave it to him. So when he got back, he called me and said, your son is a liar. Your son is a liar. He never passed the test. I said, we did that because we was going for
You good?
an innocent, you know. And so with the situation happening in jail like that, with the officer in there, it just didn't go well. So after that, like I said, I did the writ of habeas, and I gave the lawyer who was handling Genova, I gave him a copy of it. He took credit for writing it. He didn't write a damn thing. I did. I did. So I don't know where we go from here. But as far as having peace, I'll never have it. My son is on my mind all day, every day. I will see his face until I die. And it's so strong, I'll probably remember no matter if I'm cremated or fucking buried. You know? I'm hurt and I'm...
No, don't do it. I got it. I know it.
Okay, all right, you better grab me. I'm about to take flight here.
Aldridge being
I'm about to take flight.
or sent to prison.
That's what
Exactly.
All right.
Fired, at the very minimum, fired.
And we've already asked for that.
And never ever rehired by law enforcement. He should not have a right to wear that title. He should be incarcerated. That's where he belongs because he is the criminal, not my brother.
All right, let me say this. We're going to end the press conference. Add what Mr. Cure there said. You know, you got to realize that this family had fought for Leonard, and he just wasn't exonerated on some technicality or not guilty because the state couldn't prove their verdict. He was exonerated because he was innocent. 100%. He was at an ATM machine miles away at the time when this alleged robbery took place at Walgreens. But for the retention of the store or whatever, he would have been found innocent, not guilty, case dismissed. But she continued to fight for him, and she's going to continue, this family going to continue to fight for him in life and in death. We are proud to represent this family and to move forward. So with that being said, you have any other questions? You got one more? Anybody other questions? Thank you guys for coming, and we'll keep you updated. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.